You know, in every sport, there's always that one person, right? The one who becomes the benchmark, the gold standard that everyone else is measured against. Today, we're going to dive into the story of one of those legends, an icon who didn't just play the game, he changed it forever. Think about it. In the history of sports, how many nicknames really carry that kind of weight, that kind of reverence? The Golden Bear. I mean, it's a name that just screams power, precision, and this unbelievable will to win. It's the name they gave Jack Nicklaus. So where does this story begin? Well, it's not on some perfectly manicured green. We're heading to Columbus, Ohio, with a young guy who wasn't just another talented athlete. He was a straight-up phenomenon. Jack Nicklaus was about to bring a whole new kind of power to a sport that up until then was really all about finesse. So you gotta ask, right? What was his secret sauce? What made him so dominant for so long? Well, it wasn't just one thing. His entire game, his greatness, was built on these two pillars, two things that worked together perfectly to make him a legend. And this is where you really see the Nicklaus formula in action. On one hand, you had this raw, just explosive power. At a time when golf was more of a placement game, he was launching these sky-high shots. I mean, we're talking drives of 300 yards, that's like 275 meters, that just absolutely blew past what his rivals could do. But then, on the other side, you had his mind. It was a fortress. The intense, quiet focus he could tap into under pressure was just legendary. For his opponents, it was almost impossible to break. And believe me, that mental toughness was put to the test like all the time. He was going head-to-head with other giants of the game, guys like Arnold Palmer and Gary Player. These weren't just golf tournaments, they were these epic duels in the sun that had the whole world watching. To compete at that level Sunday after Sunday, man, you needed the nerves of a heavyweight boxer. But, you know, even the greatest champions face that twilight moment. Every great story has a low point. And by the mid-1980s, the whole conversation around Jack Nicklaus had totally changed. The sports world, the media, a lot of the fans, they all thought the Golden Bear's best days were long gone. The whispers started, he was done. So picture this. It's 1986, the Masters tournament is about to start, and Jack Nicklaus is 46 years old. 46! Now, in professional golf, that's an age when you're celebrated for what you did, not for what you're about to do. And look, this wasn't just some quiet whisper in the background. It was out there, loud and clear. Sports writers were actively writing him off. The word they used was washed up. He was a legend whose time was over, and nobody gave him a chance in hell of winning another major. But what happened next? Well, it became one of the most iconic, unforgettable moments in all of sports. Right there at Augusta National, Nicklaus was about to pull off what might just be the greatest comeback in the history of individual sports. He was about to make a charge for the ages. That final Sunday, man, it just unfolded like a movie. It all started with a spark, just a couple of key shots that suddenly created this glimmer of hope. And then came the charge. Nicklaus started stalking the course with this fire and precision that completely defied his age. With every incredible shot, the roars from the crowd just got louder and louder, echoing through those famous Georgia pines. And then, the final putt dropped. Victory. And that image, right, it's just burned into sports history. There he is, wearing that now famous bright yellow shirt, raising his putter to the sky. He had done the impossible. He'd won his 18th and final major championship in the most incredible way you could imagine. But here's the thing. When you really look back on the career of Jack Nicklaus, the story is about so much more than just the wins and the trophies. It's about what he stood for. It's about the kind of legacy he left behind. 18. Just let that number sink in for a second. 18 major championships, that record still stands today. It's the Mount Everest of golf, the ultimate benchmark of excellence that every single great player since has been chasing. And this, I think, is the key takeaway. Jack Nicklaus became the gold standard not just because he won so much, but because of how he did it. He had this killer competitive drive, but he combined it with this unbelievable sportsmanship and class. He really showed us that true greatness isn't about what you collect, the shiny trophies on the shelf. It's about how you compete. So it kind of leaves us all with this one big question, doesn't it? In sports, and really in life, what is the true measure of a champion? Is it all about the records and the numbers? Or is it about the character you show and the legacy you leave for the next generation to follow?